Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Kansas City Profiles presented by Easton Roofing. Well, we're going to have some fun today, that's for sure, because the man behind the iconic now Kansas City music venue Knuckleheads joins us, Frank Hicks, who had a career in body shop work and a whole variety of other things that has somehow evolved into becoming a music entrepreneur of sorts. And the stories and the way that it happened and the fact that there was, quote-unquote, no master plan, which you're going to hear several times. We'll break a little news about maybe some upcoming shows as well. Knuckleheads has grown from just being an idea of a bunch of friends getting together and selling tacos and beer and playing a little music to a place with 4 venues of various different sizes and ways to present music, and I've been there many, many times, probably should have been there many, many more times. And if you've never been to Knuckleheads, when things start to, they're doing some things on a limited basis now, but when things really get rolling, I urge you to go pick out a show because they have so many great ones and get out there. And they moved from just doing local acts to national acts, and it's a fascinating story by a Kansas City born and bred guy who has a lot of fun stories to tell and does it in a fun way, and you are going to have a blast. Coming up next with Frank Hicks, the owner of Knuckleheads, and he's our guest on Kansas City Profiles, presented by Easton Roofing.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with Joe Spiker, owner of Easton Roofing, and boy, we had to negotiate a million things in 2020, but Easton Roofing navigated them all. As 2021 rolls out, what should we expect this coming storm season?
Well, Danny, it'll be the same thing as it is every year. The storms come, and you've got the guys out knocking on doors offering quote-unquote free inspections. Be wary as a homeowner. If somebody's knocking on your door, they probably need the work, and if they need the work that bad, they may be willing to do something untoward to get it. So if somebody knocks on your door, says they want to give you a free inspection, just tell them have a great day and give us a call. We'll come out for free and give you a good, honest opinion as to whether or not you need to do anything at all with your roof.
And what's the best way to get in touch with Easton Roofing?
You can always find us online at eastonroofing.com or give us a call at 913-257-5426.
Easton Roofing, integrity matters. It's time to visit once again with Dr. Brad Woodle of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture. And Dr. Brad, your group has reached a significant milestone in receiving a prestigious award.
Danny, we've been honored for the 10th year in a row to receive the 5-Star Service Award from Integrity Doctors. And what this means is that all of our offices throughout Kansas City have made sure to give people excellent chiropractic and acupuncture care, be on time, and do a very complete and thorough job, and have great responses back from patients.
I know firsthand because I was just treated, for instance, today by you. You have a wide range of fantastic services.
Absolutely. Chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapies, rehab, anything that you need to keep you well in bones, muscles, joints, and nerves.
And I can't say how much it's benefited me in the time I've coming here. Upwards of 2 years, my back has improved 100%. And you can have that same kind of treatment too. For more information and your chance for a healthier way of life, visit asfca.com/Danny today. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson and Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Frank, you grew up around here. Tell me a little bit about young Frank Hicks.
Well, there's not a whole lot to tell. I grew up in the Northeast area. I went to Whittier grade school, and I went to Northeast High School for first 2 years. Then I moved out to Independence and went to Chrisman, and got married at 17, moved to Buckner, Missouri. Stayed there for about, 12 years. Moved to Kansas City and got divorced and remarried. And been living with this girl now I've been married to this girl for almost 40 years. So. Darn, it tells you how old I am, doesn't it?
Yes, that gives me a pretty good idea. That's for sure. What was your childhood like? What was your relationship with your parents, your siblings, etc.?
Oh, I had a good relationship. I had a stepsister, and I was the only really sibling until about 40 years ago. Then my mother and they had another baby, but she's about the same age as my youngest son. So I guess she was born. My youngest son just turned 50, so I guess she's about 49. But anyway, I was a sibling growing up. My stepsister came to live with us when I was about 6 years old, and so it was kind of a unique deal. It's like we went to school together. We didn't hang out a lot because brothers and sisters, when at that age, some of them like each other, some don't. But I did like her. That there's a couple places down in 12th Street. One of them was called the Chestnut Inn, which is now Shady Lady. At the time, it's a girly bar now, but at the time it was a live music joint in Kansas City. It was pretty popular. And I think I was around 15, and my sister was about 17, 18. And we'd go down there, and she'd go in. I'd let her in, I guess because she's female and cute, and I wasn't. So I had to stay outside because if I went home without her, I'd get my butt in trouble, you know what I mean? So I stayed out there, and they was playing all kinds of good old music. I mean, they had good country music back then. They had like, I don't know, Ernest Tubb, Webb Pierce. I think I didn't see it, but I think I heard Merle Haggard there once, I think. But it's shows like that. And I don't know, I was just growing up like that, and there was I remember when I was about, 13 or 14, there was a little hamburger joint down the corner, it's called Little Chef. It's kind of like a Town Topic is today. And they had a pinball machine in there, and I was addicted to that pinball machine. It's like I had to play it at least 2 hours a day, every day of the week. And so what I did, I finally started running out of money, so I started cleaning the place up for them. Just so they paid me in quarters so I could go back there, or maybe dimes at the time, I can't remember. But they paid me a change so I could go back there and play that pinball machine and give them all the money back. But that was my life growing up as a kid. I was going to, they had in the Northeast, they had these sock hops, which is, like a big gym. You take your shoes off and go in there. And that's called the sock hop. You take your shoes off in the gym. They had dance on Friday night, different bands. And I was pretty much into that. When I went into Independence, I'd find places like Rick's Rock and Roll Club and stuff like that, and go out there and dance and have a good time, listen to music. I've always been a music buff since I can remember. Probably 12, I don't know, 10, 12 years old. I got addicted to music and listened to it all the time.
So did you like all kinds of music? Did you ever play music?
Never could play. You know what? I got to tell you this story if you got time for it.
We got all the time you want.
All right. My mother gave me, I wanted to be a drummer. My mother gave me drum lessons down on the corner of Independence Avenue and, what is that? Van Brunt. Hardesty. Independence Avenue and Hardesty. There was a couple little, like what we call a strip mall nowadays, but just a couple little buildings there that was, had different things in. They had like a music store. And the guy that did the music store pretty much a drunk. I mean, he'd teach me, give me my lessons with a whiskey in his hand. And I don't know whether he wasn't really paying attention or I really didn't have no rhythm, but he told me after a while, after he got all the money he could get out of me, he goes, you know, you might as well give it up. You have no rhythm. I said, okay. So I quit trying to play stuff after that and never have tried anymore.
When it was when you were finishing up high school and everything, what were your thoughts about what you wanted to do with your life?
You know, back then I didn't know. I didn't really think too much about it. I know when I got about 17, 18 years old, I was working at Portland Cement. I had my first son before I turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I heard a story once. I don't know if I could say this in here, so you might have to edit this, but you know what condoms cost back in them days?
This is a podcast. You can tell this story.
Okay. Well, you know what condoms cost back in them days?
No, you tell me.
I don't know. We never used them.
Right.
But anyway, I had my son before I was 18, which was a blessing. I mean, he was born on December 6th. I turned 18 on December 14th. And actually, it kept me out of the Vietnam War, which I was happy about. Nobody wanted to go to Vietnam, so I didn't do that on purpose, but I might have if I thought about it. You know? But anyway, after that, of course, I was hustling job because I had a wife and kid then, and then a year later, I had another. I had daughters, so I had another kid. And then when I was about, I think 19, I got into the body shop business for big semis over road. Tractors, trailers, and, you know, school buses, stuff like that. And I worked at that for about 2.5 years. I had $450 in my pocket and had a burning desire to own my own business. So I went over to Kansas City, Kansas at the Scully truck stop at the time. It was right underneath the viaduct there. And they had a paint booth. They'd rent to me for $250 a month. So I had, and it had all the utilities and stuff included in it. So I paid the first month's rent, had $200 to go buy products. And my ex-father-in-law he was at the father-in-law at the time, but now he's, you know, then become my ex. But he was the manager for the White Motor Company used truck department. So I started painting their trucks, and that led into a business that I just got out of. I did it for 42 years. And I got out of that business in 2011. And Knuckleheads was actually started 2000, what was it, 2001, I think. Anyway, but it was getting to be too much hassle to try to work during the day and work at night too, you know. And after 42 years, Rick Tuck didn't look that appealing no more, you know. but I didn't have a contract, but I had a unwritten contract with a Ryder Truck Rental, and I did all their business for 4 state areas. So it kept us really busy. And we had up to 16 employees at one time. Most of the time, it varied between 13 and 16 all the time. And I don't know if you've been down Knuckleheads, but the garage.
Many times.
The garage is what used to be the body shop that I was in for so long. And so when I got out of the business, I didn't sell the building, but I sold the business to my manager. And the reason I didn't want to sell the business or the building is because with Knuckleheads being across the street and the way we do our street parties, that if I had somebody in there that I didn't know or something, I'd have to ask for permission if I could go over there and, you know, block the street off and have a party. And so the right thing to seem to do was sell to my manager, and that way, and I kept the building that way. I wouldn't have to ask permission on the buildings, you know. he had it for about 3 years, and then it didn't work out for him. So I took it back in 2014 and made I looked at this big old building. I said, what am I going to do with this thing? And I said, well, I don't have a big enough place in the wintertime, so I started making a music venue out of it, and that's how it come to life.
When did you originally start to think about getting into the music business? Obviously, you had a successful business as far as the auto body shop is concerned, and what was the genesis of starting to maneuver slowly but surely, step by step, into the music business?
Well, here's what happened in early 90s. I think it was like 90 or 91. I got back into, my kids were all grown. I got back into riding Harleys. So with me owning a body shop and dealing with insurance companies, I was able to buy wrecked Harleys. So I'd buy a wrecked Harley, and I would start putting it in my garage and fix it up and ride it. And somebody come along and want to buy it, so I'd sell it and fix me up another one. Well, at one time, my garage, I got a detached garage, and I had 8 of those things in the garage at one time working on them. Some of them were done, some of them weren't, and I had these couple of lifts I was working on, to have them in the air working on. And my wife started getting mad at me. She goes, you know what? Not only am I a Harley widow because I can't ever see you, you're always out there in the garage. I can't get the car in the garage. Even in the wintertime, the car was cold. She was pretty well pissed off about that. But, anyway, so we were doing so many motorcycles. And the thing was, I'd get them done, and somebody liked the way it looked, and I'd put a price on it, and they'd give me that price, so I'd sell it into another one. So what happened was you need to be, and to get a wholesale account or dealership, you had to have a store, like a parts department or something. So this lady that, when I moved down there in 1980, where the garage is at, where the Knuckleheads was a house at one time. At one time it was a duplex, and had on the east side was a chiropractor, and on the west side, where the gift shop's at, was a MD. And this lady, she lived there for I don't know, 75 or 76 years. I don't really know the whole story about it, but she was born there, and then she was raised there by the doctor. So I don't know whether her mother died at birth, or I don't know the story. So I mean, I'd be making up something. But anyway, she lived there when I moved there, and I took care of the place. And one day she told me that she was just 75 years old, and she was getting screwed over by people. They wanted to paint the house, they wouldn't scrape it right. They'd paint it. And the bank actually owned it. It was in a trust for the doctor that died. He left everything to her. And so when the bank, she called me up one day, come over, and she says, you can have anything out of the house you want, because I'm going to move to the nursing home because I really can't take care of myself anymore. And I said, okay. And so I tried to buy the house, and actually it took me about almost a year to get it bought. And so what I did, I took the what is called the Gospel Lounge now. I took that and made a storefront out of it, and put some used motorcycles in there, and I put a parts counter in there. And to be honest with you, it's pretty much phony. It was just it looked good, and I could take people down there on a Saturday. I go down on a Saturday, but it got to where people was coming down and asking me to buy parts at a discount. All my friends, and I had to sell $100,000 a year parts. Well, I was buying 50 of it myself, so it was no brainer. I just get a few friends that does the same thing I do. I like to fix their bikes up, and I'd sell it to them. Well, then they'd tell their friends. The next thing you know, it's kind of got too big for me. I had to really make it a real legitimate business. And so I hired a parts man and had it open full time. Well, I'd always liked the music business. And so I think it was 2000, we started that business in 97. I think it was about 2000. We started doing some local bands in there. And I had a showroom for the motorcycles. I just pulled the showroom out and put the motorcycle somewhere else, and made a little stage in the corner and started having local bands. And we started doing a jam on Saturday, and we had a little trailer we put behind the place, and we sold tacos and beer without a license now. Without a license at all. Tacos and beers, dollar tacos and dollar beers. And We had a little jam session from a friend of mine. He was a musician, and he was playing down a little bit. It really wasn't a jam session. He just sat around and played. People listen, they'd sing, and once in a while, it wasn't like an invited jam like we have nowadays. But anyway, it kind of started getting popular. We was open from noon to 6 on Saturday, and then we started really needing to get people down there because the Knuckleheads part of it was so popular that we started going from noon to midnight, and then we started doing Friday night. Then we started doing Thursday night. No, actually, we started doing Wednesday night. Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And I thought, well, it's stupid. Be open on Wednesday, close on Thursday, and open on Friday. So we finally opened up on Thursday, too. And so the Knuckleheads overtook the cycle shop, which was called Fog Cycles. And it was a pretty going business. It didn't make the money, but we had a lot of crowd, and we'd have we sponsored a bike night over at Frank Hicks over 58th and Kansas Avenue. So every Wednesday night, we'd all meet down here at Knuckleheads and ride over to Frank Hicks and have a good night. And Saturday and Sunday became a biker hangout. When I say biker, it's not like the guys you picture like Hell's Angels.
Right.
Not, it's more like the guys that weekend warriors, the doctors and lawyers and cops and firemen that have motorcycles and want to go riding on day off and stuff, So we started planning a lot of poker runs and different rides and stuff. We go up to Rulo just to have some catfish, Rulo, Nebraska. And we became a destination. Well, after a while, when we first started, we put Knuckleheads on our logos and our T-shirts and stuff. We had Fog Cycles, and they put Knuckleheads inside of Fog Cycles. The Knuckleheads got so popular. After a while, it was Knuckleheads and Fog Cycles inside of Knuckleheads. It's kind of crazy. It turned out, but the last year we had Fog Cycle, which was like 2000. I want to say 2006, maybe 2006, I think. I looked at the books, and we made our profit was $25,000 for the year, and the part-time was open for Thursday through Wednesday through Friday, Saturday. We weren't open on Sunday, and it cost me $26,000 to do it, so I was losing $1,000 a year. And I go, well, I really like to take that motorcycle shop and make a gift shop out of it, and start selling my T-shirts. Got selling T-shirts like crazy, and so the motorcycle thing just come to an end. It lasted about pretty close to 10 years. It was a really good thing, but that's what got me started in it, is fixing up the Harleys and needing a place to buy and sell parts. In 1981 or 82, my father-in-law owned a bar down in River Key, and he passed away. And so my wife and I took it over, so we knew a little bit about the bar business. And it was called Jamie's. It was on the corner of 5th and Missouri Avenue, where I think it's KC Tacos now. But anyway, so we run that for about 2 years, and it was just too much for me to do it with the business the way it was over at Mid-City, the truck business. And that one time I couldn't handle it, but I didn't have all the people I had at the later years. So when I started doing the truck business and Knuckleheads at the same time, it wasn't quite as bad because I could get to work at 10 o'clock in the morning instead of having to be there at 8,
Right.
But it was still pretty tiring, hell, at my age, to be working until 2 in the morning and then come in at 10 in the morning, So it made me for kind of a dull guy.
Work and sleep, right?
Anyway, but I always had this thing in the back of my head that I always wanted to have a bar in a car lot and sell motorcycles. Not really a car lot, but sell cars too, but mostly motorcycles. A bar in a motorcycle shop that I could retire in, just sit around and have a few beers with the guys, bullshitting if they want to buy a motorcycle or car. It was there,
Mm-hmm.
And so I had this vision of that anyway. So Knuckleheads kind of started out that way. And it was, really honest to God, it was kind of organic growing. It was just started happening, and started coming more people. We started needing more things. So I'd buy the house next to me and I'd tear it down and make a bigger parking lot out of it. Next thing you know, I'm clear over to the corner, and I got a courtyard. And it was kind of interesting because, I mean, I never really stopped and looked at it. It was just, it needed to be done. I did it, and to accommodate the people who's coming down. And one day, a buddy of mine, he lives in St. Louis, he come down and he goes, I want to show you something. I said, what's that? And when I bought the garage, it was one bay. It was a fire station, one bay in an office. And I built all the stuff around it and built the big building, what's now known as the garage. And he took 2 folding chairs, and we went. This sounds crazy, but he set me over across the street at Knuckleheads, looking at the garage. He goes, "Have you ever stopped and looked at what you've done?" I said, "No." So we sat there and looked at it. Now, of course, we had a couple drinks in our hand. That always helps. But we was looking at the thing and going like, yeah, I remember doing all this. I just didn't. It was no master plan, I guess. It was just off the cuff. I had a guy who used to work for me, help me build the garage. He goes, "Do you ever thought about having a master plan?" I said, "No, don't really want one." And so then we took the chairs and we went across the street at the garage. And are you hearing that static I'm hearing?
Nope.
Okay. All right, it's gone. Anyway, so we went across the street at the garage and sat down and looked at Knuckleheads and looked at all the expansion that, the courtyard and the stage and all that. And I mean, I guess when you do something every day of your life, you just don't really sit there and look at it, But he kind of not forced me, but enticed me to sit in a chair and look at the place and how it grown. And it started out as a little bitty old place in the corner, and then it ends up, whole damn block. And I was pretty amazed by that. I was sitting there looking at it, go, damn, when did I have time to do all this? Because I've been so busy, But it was weird, but that's how Knuckleheads really kind of got started in the garage and so forth. And it's just, I've always wanted to have artists that I liked and loved for years. And Leon Russell was always one of my favorites. And he was actually the first national act we ever booked. And I used to go see him down at the Municipal Auditorium, and they had that Mad Dogs and Englishmen with
right.
Joe Cocker and Billy Preston, Rita Coolidge, Leon Russell, and them. Always loved Leon Russell. And if you'd have told me 20, 30 years ago that I was going to go to lunch with Leon Russell and sit down and have conversations with him, I told you he was crazy, but it worked out that way. And like I said, there was no master plan to it. It was just, if there was a master plan, I didn't see it, to put it that way. Okay. There might have been.
So how did you meet your second wife?
Through the body shop. I had a body shop on the corner. Actually, when I was over, I started telling you I was on the Kelly truck stop over there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1973, we had a recession, and I was young enough in business I couldn't afford it, so I sold the business. It was called Inner City Truck Painting to the guy that owned the trucks at the truck stop. And he's, and I sold to him, and he's with the understanding that in a year or two, if I had the money, I could buy it back. So I started working for him for a year, and then I got enough money and stuff. I didn't really want to be in Kansas no more. So I went to 18th and Jackson. There's a building up there. I rented that. And I stayed there for about, I don't know, maybe 3 years. And then Urban Renewal come through there. Decided he's going to start building a bunch of houses and start tearing some of his old stuff down. And so they took my building and they relocated me to the corner of 5th and Troost. And so I was down there and it was real close to where I started. I started when I told you about the White Motor Company. It was on the corner of 5th and Locust. Now I'm on the corner of 5th and Troost, which is maybe 3/4 of a mile, something like that. But anyway, so Mary, I'd see her she'd go by the shop all the time. She lived a block away, and I'd see her all the time. Just got to the point where you just wave at them, And then she wrecked her car. I don't know if I wanted to fix it. I normally don't do cars, but I said, yeah, I'd do it. So, I don't know. That wasn't no master plan either, but it happened.
So when did you sort of start accelerating into the more national acts when the Grand Emporium closed? Is that what happened?
You know, it wasn't. It was and it wasn't. Okay. I mean,
All right.
I was booking Leon Russell before the Grand Emporium closed,
Mhm.
but at the same time, the Grand Emporium did close. And, you know, I knew a little bit about the Grand Emporium. I'd been there twice in my life, and I didn't know Roger at all. And I seen they were closing, and it did change things a lot for me because I don't know how they got a hold of me, but a lot of the agents started calling me, asking me if I want to do some of the acts that was the Grand Emporium. The first agent that called me was an Intrepid Artist, and they had Kenny Neal, Little Ed and the Imperials, and Anthony Gomes. And they said, I'll give you one Thursday, one Friday, one Saturday. And I thought, you know, what the hell? I might as well do it, you know. And so I tried it. Man, to be honest with you, I wasn't sure what I was doing, but we didn't have an up-to-date sound system. We didn't have nothing, but we made it. And it's pretty cool. And when Leon came in, of course, we rented one for him, but it wasn't very long after that I realized I had to start putting a lot of investment in some sound system and bigger stage and stuff. But yeah, when the Grand Emporium closed, it was really a shot in the arm for Knuckleheads. I don't know how we would have done if they hadn't closed. That's always been, you know, up in the air. How would I have done that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, you know? But with them being closed, they it helped out a lot. And I went to Grand Emporium a couple of times afterwards. You married? Excuse me just a second. So anyway, I went to Grand Emporium. They had a guy by the name of Chubby Carey. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not.
Absolutely.
I went to Grand Emporium with the idea of stealing him. Okay. I just liked his. I just thought he would be a perfect fit for Knuckleheads, but especially on the outdoor stage because everybody's dancing. If you went up to Grand Emporium, did you ever go up there?
Yes, I've been to Grand Emporium. Yeah.
Did you see Chubby up there?
I did not, but I've been there. I went there on multiple occasions. So, but there's not much room to dance, I guess, is part of what you're getting into.
Well, there was no room to dance when Chubby was there. Everybody was standing up. It's like crowded is crazy, but you know it's good. Well, I think the guy named Stuart Solomon bought that from Roger and Herb. And anyway, he had Chubby up there, and I went up to talk to Chubby, and he said, "I don't want to leave because they've always been really, really loyal to me." And he says, "You know, I just can't leave." I said, "Okay." And I really respected that. I mean, honest to God, I went back here with a better feeling than had I stolen him because, you know, loyalty in any kind of business is, you know, great. So I went back and never thought nothing about it. And I don't know, it was about 4 or 5 months later, he called me up and said, "You still want me?" I said, "Yeah, I want you." "What happened?" He said, "Well, I went up there and he said they had a note on the door that said the band canceled." He said, "Hell, I didn't cancel. I drove all the way from Lafayette, Louisiana to get there." And Chubby's real fan-based. I mean, everything's about his fans, you know. And he goes, it really made him mad that he went there and there was a sign saying that the band canceled. He said, he didn't cancel. He said he went and talked to the manager. I'm not sure who it was at the time. He said, "Well, don't worry, we're going to pay you anyway." He said, "Well, it ain't about the money. It's about you put a sign on there that I canceled and I didn't." So he stopped playing there and started playing Knuckleheads. Been there ever since. And that was like right after the Grand Emporium closed. I think after the Grand Emporium closed, he might have played there once or twice after that. But after that, he's been playing for me.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
I'm here with David Schmidt from Private Capital. And David, tell us more about your outstanding firm.
Thanks, Danny. Here at Private Capital, we focus on return on asset. In today's world, it is survival of the fittest. We look at things from all angles and try to figure out what works best for you. The changes we will see this next year on assets will be monumental. The key to success is knowledge. Know where you want to go, and we'll be here along the way. To find out more, give us a call at 816-221-7775.
David Schmidt from Private Capital with the best service for you.
Right now, it's more important than ever to support local businesses. And 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence is open and ready to take care of you. Make 23rd Street Brewery part of your KU game day experience, whether you watch the game there or grab curbside pickup for your tailgates or watch parties.
But not just game days. 23rd Street Brewery is great any day of the week, and when the weather's nice, you can take advantage of their heaters on the patio. 23rd Street Brewery is open daily from 11:30 to 9 for dine-in, carry-out, curbside pickup, and can even help with your catering needs.
So support local and visit a Lawrence favorite, 23rd Street Brewery.
Firsthand, I have enjoyed the benefits of the CBD products from Canaway. My back feels better and better these days, as a major part of my routine are the pain-relieving salve and the pure gold oil. And recently, I had the pleasure of a treatment session using the Canaway CBD in conjunction with the Microlight 830 cold laser. The non-invasive treatment session worked wonders, and I could barely tell I was even being touched. TML 830 is the first 3B cold laser to get FDA approval, and in addition, the combination treatment with CBD is patent pending. The new smart laser is the only hands-free cold laser in the world and is used by athletic trainers, chiropractors, MDs, physical therapists, and veterinarians everywhere. You can learn more about all the great benefits from the complete line of Canaway CBD products by contacting my friend Sherry McCants at 515-208-6312. That's 515-208-6312 to get outstanding information about Canaway. Most of us have experienced auto accidents, and it's no fun. And even less fun is trying to work on the insurance aspects afterwards and getting full value after an auto accident. I'm here with David Cowan from WreckExpert.com. And David, you have an unusual and important niche for people after an auto accident.
We have a passion to teach car wreck clients what they deserve. Getting your car repaired only fixes the damage and the paint. Getting paid for your car's loss in value is called diminished value. Chances are you've never heard of this before because most people aren't looking out for you. We help people collect thousands to tens of thousands of dollars for their car's loss in value after the wreck.
And if somebody wants to come to you for that, what's the original assessment cost them?
We offer a free review of any insurance claim to see how we can help.
You can't beat that. Great expertise and assistance in getting full value after an auto accident from David Cowan. Visit WreckExpert.com and learn more. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. When did you think, start to, you said you were so busy and, it's just sort of organically is growing. But first of all, how did you handle the music business side of it, and why did you have a feel for that? Or did you have people who, music business is a complicated thing, and booking acts and things like that? Is that just something that kind of came naturally to you?
Well, I love music. I love music. It was just like anybody else, a fan. I was just a fan of it. I had no idea how the hell it run or what behind the scenes and all that. But when you take money and invest in something like big acts like Leon Russell or whoever it was, and you learn really, really quick. It's kind of like jumping in the water and trying to learn how to swim. You're going to drown or you're going to swim. And that's the way it was in the music business, because there's 2 or 3 stories I'll tell you. And one of them was I booked Leon Russell through a guy named Robert Devine. He's still around. He's in Austin, Texas. And so anyway, booked Leon and started advertising. He was going to be there July 10th. And I think it was a pitch or something we advertised in. Well, then one day I picked up the pitch and said, Leon Russell's going to be at Madrid July 10th. I said, how the hell are going to be both places, So I called the agent. I said, what's going on here? He said, well, you didn't have a contract, and they offered $500 more than you did. I said, well, hey, I've always been this way all my life. I said, we had a deal. I didn't need no damn contract. He said he was going to come. You asked me X amount of dollars. I told you I'd take it, and everything was cool. And you never even come back and said, well, I got offered $500 more and want more money. You never said nothing to me. I had to pick up paper and find out the show's not at my place. And so it really irritated me that happened like that. And so I started learning real quick. And then I had remember the band Boston? There was a guy named Rand, I can't remember that name, Cosmo, something like that. that took the lead singer's place anyway. They were going to bring him in on a side project with another band. And so, of course, I put the deposit down 50% and never heard from nobody. After that, you couldn't find the promoter or the agent nowhere. He took everybody's money and skipped town. I don't think it was ever going to happen anyway. So when you do 3 or 4 things like that, you learn pretty damn quick. Go. Either you're going to learn quick or you're going to go broke. And I wouldn't let nobody, take the money I worked so hard for. So hell with this. I got to figure this out. So that's kind of how the music business was, and probably still is. I won't even tell you who it was, but I had an artist just the other day that was going to come through their management rather than through their agent. And they wanted me to give them 60% deposit, which is unheard of. Normally, deposits anywhere from 10, 25, or 50%. So when they asked 60%, I said, no, so I'll give you 10%. And they didn't want to do it. So I got nervous because I'd been screwed like that before. And I said, no. I think we'll just pass on this deal. And I might have screwed up because it was a really pretty popular group. But I think I could have made some money off of it. I won't say who they are, but it just didn't seem right to me. And in this kind of business, you really kind of got to go with your gut.
Right.
If something feels like it's going to happen, it's going to be good, it will. If you feel like it's going to go south on you or never going to happen, it probably won't. So I don't know. I mean, I grew up. The other thing too that helped me out in the business, I forgot to tell you this. When I had the body shop, you remember the place called United Sports? Russ Klein had all these monster trucks going. They were real big at the time. And my buddy, I've known forever, worked there. And so they brought this Army tank. It's called an Army Retriever down at my place, and we made it. We called it the Avenger. We made it shoot out, fire out the little cannon things they had on it. Indestructible car because it made out of about 1/2-inch steel. And they took it out on all the places they took it. You had to take it overseas. And it was like an indestructible monster trucks. You run over it, never heard it. So Russ Klein and Chris Fritz was partners, and Chris had New West. And so Chris and I became friends, and I started working on his cars and traded work for cars for tickets and stuff to shows. And he had one of his right-hand guys, Dan Faggart. And when I got really going into business, I hired Dan Faggart. Couldn't work for me. And anyway, just being around Chris a little bit, I knew a little bit about it. Just kind of, I knew the people in Chris's office. I knew them real well. And with Dan, I mean, I knew how Dan, like he showed me how he worked at Starlight and different things you had to do for like action, like Gordon Lightfoot or something, how you pay him and all that. So he gave me a little insight in that too.
Right.
I forgot to tell you that. So I did have a little insight.
Well,
I guess there was a master plan.
A unique master plan.
I know.
But over the last several years, now you have all these different venues, and was that just another step-by-step thing where you figured, okay, we've got this level of act, and they can only, they play there, and then the gospel lounge is small, but it has its place as well, and then, of course, you needed some place in the winter. How did you feel like, so I guess there was no master plan there either, but did success just make this necessary that you have all these different enterprises going now?
Well, like you said there, the thing about it was in the winter I needed a bigger room because if I want to have acts like Danielle or Samantha Fish or Chubby Carey, anything that brought a big crowd, it was so congested in the saloon that I needed a bigger place. So that was a perfect idea for that. The outdoor was a perfect place because it was my little version of, and I'm not saying it's like it, okay, but it's my little version of Starlight where you're sitting down the patio and watching shows. And so, but yeah, you're right. I mean, it become different stages for different artists. And are you familiar with David Lindley?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Well, David Lindley, he's played every room I got. I don't think he's played the garage. He played every room I had other than the garage. And he always liked to go. He liked the gospel lounge. He said, Frank, he said, I don't know what it is back here. He says, don't touch nothing, don't change nothing, don't. He said, this sound back here is, he says, immaculate. And I, from coming from David Lindley, it was a hell of a compliment. And so he always wanted to go back to gospel lounge. So instead of $20 tickets, we'd make him $40 or $45 tickets, put him back there, and he'd sell it out. And I'd make the same amount of money, and he'd make the same amount of money as if he was in the saloon, so the saloon side or outdoors. He would draw he would only draw so many people. The guy was fantastic, and putting him back in the gospel lounge made it even more special because then only at the time I think it was 75 or 80 people could get in there and see this show. So it made it more personable, and people did there's no talking in the show. If you sitting there trying to interrupt the show, everybody started looking at you, and so it kind of policed itself, and it started being really good for other artists. So I started bringing in several artists, like I bring Paul Thorne in there every year. He does a show back there. I did Shelby Lynn. I did her back there and charged $135 a ticket. But it was so intimate because we only sold 75 tickets. 75 of the best fans in Kansas City saw her. And I offered, and I never got this, and they laughed at me, thought I was crazy, but I offered Chris Christopherson $25,000 to play back there. They didn't want him to play to that smaller crowd. And I thought it'd be cool. I told him I didn't give a shit if he sung, so I just wanted to hear him tell stories, And they go, well, how much are you going to charge for a ticket? And I said, $375. And they go, you think you can get $375? I said, well, there's 1 million people in Kansas City. If I can't find, 60 or 70 people that want to pay $375 to see Chris Christopherson in this little room, I need to lose my money, But they laughed at me. They thought, no, we can't have him play to that, And I understand this. I've been a big Jackson Brown fan for years and years, and I always wanted to get Jackson down there. Well, Jackson's really too big for Knuckleheads.
Right.
And we went out and interviewed him one time. Ben Mead and I went out and interviewed him for a film Ben was doing. And I was talking to him, and he said, I'd like to play at your place. Dave just told me about your place a lot. I got several friends that's played there. The Watkins that's played there, and several people played there. He said it would just kill my career because then they'd say, okay, he's playing at a 1,000, 1,200 seat venue, or capacity venue. He must not be doing well.
Right.
He said, but here's how you can do it, Frank. And I never did have pursued this. I should have. But he said, have a benefit. Nobody gives a damn about benefits. I mean, they don't care. I mean, when I say they don't give a damn, I don't mean
right.
People do care. But the industry don't care because he's just doing a benefit for something he likes.
Right.
And then he's not trying to draw a crowd. So it never gets reported to Pulsar or to agencies. Because of the benefit. So you do a benefit for something I'm interested in, I'll play your venue. So that's still on the back burner. I'll do that one of these days.
Better get on it.
Why? You think my time is getting short or what?
No, I mean, Jackson Brown's time might be getting a little short as far as performing.
Hey, we're the same age. So
yep.
If he goes, we might go together.
Now, of course, the last couple of years have been so difficult, or the last year, it seems like 10 years, but with COVID, and you've really made efforts in the right way to, get people back out a little bit, try to do it safely. What has that challenge been? I mean, it's been so you couldn't in nobody's wildest nightmare could music venues imagine something like this occurring.
It was so devastating. It was almost like I sat there when they first shut us down. I think it was like March. I think it was St. Patrick's Day. It's been almost a year. I sat there and looked at the place empty, and I go, man, I haven't for 20 years, I haven't seen this place empty. Boarded up with the gates, and not boarded up, but the gates locked and not open, no signs on them, nothing. It was just, it really took me by, I don't know, it didn't take me by surprise. I guess it did take me by surprise because nobody knew it was going to happen. But it just devastated me to look at it and go, man. And really honest to God, it's all about I do this. I don't do it for money. I do it for fun. I do it for to have people have a place to enjoy. I mean, I made more money at the body shop than I ever did at Knuckleheads, but I didn't like the body shop. I mean, I did years ago, but after 42 years, I didn't. And I always loved music, so it was kind of intriguing for me to see if I can get bigger acts like the Merle Haggards and the Johnny Rivers and, Leon Russell to come here. And I just thought, well, now I can't do that no more. And is it ever going to happen again? And so I thought, man, and so I think it was, what was it, like May 15th or something, they said we could open back up to 10%. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to lose my butt at 10%. But at least I'll be doing something. I was getting so fat and lazy from sitting around and doing, I mean, I always thought I wanted to retire. And boy, after COVID, I said, hell no, I don't ever want to retire. But again, that's the wrong way to look at it because you couldn't go nowhere.
Right.
Everything was closed. So it wasn't really a comparison to retirement. But I'm going like, man, this is what it's like to stay home. Yeah, I'm going to go be a Walmart greeter or something, But it was just it was devastating, and it was very trying. And to put 10% in there, which we'd had shows, in the gospel line, bigger than what I could have them out in the saloon now,
Right.
But we started doing tacos and beer on Sunday, and if it was overpacked, we put them outside in the patio and let them, so we 10% out there and 10% here. So then I got to thinking, I thought, well, why don't we do that? We'll put 10% outside, 10% inside, and 10% in the garage. And at least we're doing 30% of the business,
Right.
So that, you have to be, and I'm not saying that this about being boastful or nothing, but in the COVID era, you had to be very creative, And they started doing all these drive-in concerts, and I had guys that worked for me to come up with this idea way before I ever heard about it. Let's take the parking lot and do a drive-in, But there were so many downsides to that because I see, okay, if you get somebody trapped in the car, for number one, if you dare to make any money, you can't sell them booze because they're going to bring it in their car.
Right.
Number two, everybody's going to park and somebody's going to want out. And
Right.
they're going to get pissed because they can't get out. Next thing you know, you got a big old fight or something going on. And nowadays, with everybody shooting each other and all that crap, and then, the tension that COVID brought among people got them so restless and bored and angry, losing their jobs, losing their houses, that I thought, man, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea, And I think it's worked for a lot of people. I'm glad they did. I just didn't want to try it. I just thought it didn't look
right.
If this business ceases being fun for me or fun for people coming down, then I don't need it no more.
Right. Well, we slowly but surely are getting towards where we think maybe in the summertime. And for instance, I have tickets to the Mavericks, and it was supposed to be last May, and then it was supposed to be September. Now it's supposed to be this May. I don't imagine. It doesn't seem like maybe it's going to happen in May.
I think it's going to happen. Matter of fact, as soon as I get off the phone with you, I got to call in. We got to talk about this. Here's the problem we're going to have, and I think we're going to work it out. And I shouldn't tell you this, but I will.
Okay.
If the capacity doesn't change between now and May, we're talking about doing 2 shows a night to split the crowd, do an early show and a later show. And so what we do is, like, you got tickets for Friday night, and we'll try to put let's say a 7:30 show,
right,
and a 10 o'clock show on.
Okay, well, there you go. We're breaking news here on this particular thing.
Well, don't be spreading it yet.
Well, it's going to be heard.
That's just in the talking stage. Here's the deal. I mean, real honestly, here's the deal. Mavericks want to get out real bad, and they want to play. And when Raul was here in November, he said, "Man, how great would that be if we got out of this COVID crap? Our first gig back as the Mavericks would be Knuckleheads." And so we're trying everything we can not to reschedule it.
All right. Well, that's
the only thing that would keep it screw us up is if we don't get any kind of capacity deal going, because I mean, right now I think we could still pull it off if we did 2 shows. But then here's the other thing bad. I hate to mention this too, but you got the Mavericks, which is probably one of the best party bands in the world.
Yes.
Everybody's got to be social distance. They can't dance.
Right.
I don't see that being a whole lot of fun. I mean, it'd be fun.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not the normal Maverick show, but
nope.
I don't know.
We'll see what happens, but we know sooner or later it's going to we're going to be back to some sort of normalcy. What do you see? You said now that you don't think you want to retire, but and all you've done is sort of grow and grow and grow. What do you think the next few years hold for Knuckleheads?
I think we're going to continue growing. I think we're going to start. I mean, we'll be changing things all the time. I can't sit still. You know, if you come down Knuckleheads and something's not changed, then bring me some flowers to my grave because I'm gone. You know, but I think that there's going to be some different changes around there. I think there's going to be some more. Not I want to say more, but there's going to be some more shows in the park like we did. There's going to be some more street parties. There's going to be, you know. We're looking. Well, actually, we're going to do Briarfest. You know where that is?
Yes.
We're going to do that this year down in Knuckleheads. We're looking at a couple other big events like that too. But I don't see it stopping at all, and I see it maybe. There's really not a whole lot place to go but up. You know, right. I mean, like I might have to put a second story up or something. I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I haven't got a plan. Don't have a master plan. But
you know, it sounds like this is
sort of. I just say this, I'm not going to stop.
It just sounds like this sort of has, you know, all the enterprises you've had and everything else. It sounds like this, you know, later chapter in your life has sort of been a kind of a dream come true for you.
It really has, you know, and I thank God for that. And I think, you know, if something did happen to me, I've had a good run. You know what I mean? I'm happy with life. I've been successful in business. I've been successful in friendship. And I think people that are my friends and people that I love and customers and friends and everything, I think that's how you measure your success on not money. You know, yeah, money's not going to get you a steak instead of a hamburger, but you know, having people that like you and you like them, and they'll do things for you and you do things for them. And I've always said that I think that there's a secret behind Knuckleheads of why it's successful. It's really like having a party in your backyard. You just invited a bunch of neighbors to come in and have a cookout or band or whatever, but it seems really down home type feeling, and I don't ever want that to change. I want it to always be like I'm going to a friend's house, you know. And I know it sounds kind of corny, but that's how it is.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Kling Scale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.